So guys, my screen is visible for everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now, till now, whatever we have designed the web service, and we have designed the web service using the REST type of service actually. Representational state transformation means we are going to just created a web service. Only one web service we created, right? And in that web service we have added all the features, right? All the features, like suppose someone worked on the like your project, customer and employee management, like that. So they created the customer class, they created separate employee component, they created the others features also they included in the same web service, right? And this type of service structure architecture is known as monolithic architecture actually. So so there are two types of actually this particular service oriented architecture. They divided into two parts. One is monolithic. Okay, so monolithic architecture. Okay, so in the monolithic architecture, what's happening? The entire application, okay, is built, we can say, is going to be developed as a single application, you can say. Okay, so in this application all the components, all the features will be present. Like in the same like suppose if I'll talk about the Flipkart application. So in the Flipkart application, all the Flipkart related features will be there in the single application, right? Like payment service, order management, customer management, okay, vendor management, restaurant management. So everything, or you can say the product management, not the restaurant management. We are just, if we talk about the Flipkart, then suppose the product management, payment management, or order management, cart management. So all the services suppose is consider is there in the same service, and that type of architecture is known as monolithic type of architecture. The entire application is developed as a single application. Okay, and all components, let me just write here, all components uh, of the, right, you can say application, such as you can say user interface. Okay, user interface, business logic code. Okay, business logic code. Then we can say the particular database access are there in the same application, okay. All features are developed in the same application. Okay, and this type of particular service or web service is monolithic. Now, what is the disadvantage, or you can say what is the disadvantage with the monolithic architecture? So monolithic architecture or monolithic design, also known as single code base. Code base means this application is developed and maintained as a single code base, which means all features and functions are the part of the same project. Okay, all features and functions functions are the part of are the part of same project. Like if you are developing a web service on the Flipkart, so payment, card, order, everything will be there in the same project. Okay, that is called single code base. Okay, now then there is one more characteristic is there for the monolith, that is called single deployment. Okay, deployment, that means the entire application is going to be deployed together, right? Means if you change something or if you edit something in any component, you must have to deploy the entire application. So the entire, one more thing, the entire application, okay, deploy it, we can say, together. Okay, deploy it together. Okay, that means that we can say that means any changes if you make in any component, you must have to redeploy the entire application. You must have to redeploy the entire application. Redeploy entire application. Okay, application. So this is what also one of the issue is there with the monolithic architecture. Whatever we have deployed, whatever we have developed. Okay. Now, one more problem. This monolithic architecture, we cannot say it's a loose coupling type of application. So it's a tight coupling. Okay. Tight coupling means all the components are tightly coupled with each other. If I'll change anything in any component, or if I'll edit anything in any component, I must have to test the other components also to before going to deploy our application, before going to use our application. So that means all components are tightly integrated and with each other right now. So that is what you can say, all components, okay, components are tightly right integrated with other components. Okay, other components, let me just say integrated, okay, with the other components. That is also you can say components. Okay, now one more problem is there called shared database, shared DB we can say. Okay, shared DB is what means everyone are going to share the same database. Okay, so all the card also is going to share the same, card service also is going to share the same database, payment service is going to share the same database. Okay, so all right, the components, okay, or all service, we can say all services, collection of services are shared same DB. This is also one of the issue with the monolithic design. Okay, and performance wise also it's not much better. So performance, okay, you can say performance. So monolithic application are not much better in the performance wise. Let me just say performance wise, monolithic are not preferable. Monolithic service architecture is not preferable. Okay, monolithic step. So this is the problem. Actually, in case of the monolithic, it's a tightly coupled. It's going to share all same the database. Okay, it's going to it's need the redeployment. Okay, and all the features are present in the same database, so it's not loosely coupled actually. Okay, so in this case of monolithic architecture, suppose think a big application we are developing and all the features are there in the same system, right? So it is really very challenging whenever my customer or user will be increased for that particular application, right? Just think about the Flipkart user, all right? That's just think about the Amazon type of applications user, right? There are lots of user, okay, lots of customers are there, right? And in this case, this particular monolithic service type of service development will not be benefited. Why will not be benefited? Because it, first of all, if I change anything into my any component, suppose in a single application I'm having payment service. Okay, payment service I am having, product service, I'm having order service, I'm having suppose card service. Okay, card service. Oh, so few developers are working in the different services, like how you shared your project into different modules, right? So someone did in the payment, someone did in the product, someone did in the customer, right? So suppose we have this application, and this application consisting these features, right? Payment, product, service, order service, card service, right? This all features are there, right? Now if you'll change, some developers will change on the order service, so I must have to retest again the product service also, retest again the payment service also, retest again the card service also. So I need to again resend because they are integrated with each other, right? So before going to uh, deploy my application, before going to just start our application, I must have to retest it, and then I'll say customer you can use now, right? Otherwise, if you will not retest your other components, then what will happen? Maybe the order service is working fine, but the payment service is not working fine. Okay, and this could lead some problem, right? Or employee cannot able to get their card details. So some problem we will face in case of monolithic architecture. We have to redeploy the entire application. This particular services are not you can say loosely coupled. Okay, everyone are going to share the same database, right? So this was the problem we faced in case of monolithic architecture. That's why what they did, they designed microservice architecture. Okay, so let's talk about the microservice architecture. Okay, microservice. In case of microservice, what they're saying that okay, we'll design the Flipkart application, we'll design all these components, all these features, all this, right? This whatever the uh, features, components are testing related files are there, we'll develop everything, we'll implement everything, but we'll implement as a separate service. So we'll not, what we'll do, so we'll create a separate service, web service for payment. Okay, separate web service will create for payment service. Okay, we'll create a separate product service. So this could be a different project. Okay, so this is suppose a service one or application one. Okay, application one, we are saying we can say service one also. Okay, service one. Okay, and this is our next service called product service. So this is application two. Okay, and this is called product service. Okay, product service. And let me just write here product service. Okay, and this is application 3. Okay, and this is application 3. Suppose this is called card service. Okay, card service I have given over here. So this is the different service. Okay, so this all now I'm treating as a different applications, right? So instead of all the services keeping in the same application, I'm going to just create a separate service, separate application, and my all applications, my all this, I have divided my applications, entire application in the sub application, you can say. And what I'm doing here, payment service will run in the different service, product service will run in the different service, card service will run in the different service. Okay, and everyone is going to uh, is going to is going to provide this all layers, everyone having the user interface layer, everyone having the business layer, everyone having the database layer also. So same thing is there for every this all this particular web services UI. We have the BL, we have the DB. So that means this every services are become independent unit. Okay, and if I'll test in one, if I'll change in one unit, I don't need to retest it, the product service, I don't need to retest in the card service. I have to just test the particular service, and I can able to change any any part of my application. Okay, so that they become independent actually, that not are like dependent on each other actually. Just we just change anything, and we just need to call the, from payment we can call the product, from product we can call the cart. Okay, so but this all these services will communicate with each other, but everyone will become a individual deployment unit. Okay, so this all services you can able to easily deploy in a different way, in the individual way actually. We don't need to separately, we can able to deploy, run our, execute our this all services, right? So what I'm doing here, microservices is saying just break the services, break the entire services into separate services, right? So this, instead of just keeping all the services in the same application, we have service 1, service 2, service 3. We can have the hundred of services also, right? So that all services are running independently in the different server. So suppose this can run in the different server with port number 5060. Okay, this can run in the different server with the port number 6070. This can run in the different web server, everyone having the different database server, right? So this is what the, now the thing will have what happen. So now we can able to easily test our individual services. It cannot if I change, edit anything our payment service, it's not hamper on the other services. Redeployment is not necessary over here. Okay, and we are not going to share all, the same database, and all components, all these services are become loosely coupled. Okay, and this is what we want actually, right? So we are dividing our services into different applications, into different services, and all the services we can able to like design such a way that all services can communicate with other services. Means payment can communicate with product, like that cart can communicate with product and all. And all the services are running in the different server on the different port number also. Okay, you can say. And one more thing, but the thing is that this all services, suppose I'm having n number of services, 100 of services. Okay, but 100 of services should be centralized in a one central server, right? So central server from where we can register all these service instances. So what will do in the microservice architecture, what will happen once this service will execute, the instance of the payment service will be created, the instance of the product will be created, the instance of the card will be created. Okay, and this all instances can run in a single cloud server. We need, but one more thing, this microservices, in case of the microservice, we need this cloud enabled actually. So because services, if I talk about the, some server is going to run, and server is going to run in the different port number, and in the server is going to run on the different IP address also. Okay, so for that I need to create one, design one server. In that server all the instances of this microservices will be registered. Okay, so that's what we need to do. We have to design in that way. Okay, and this microservice provides so many features like load balancing features, so many design patterns, right? Like you can say circuit design patterns and all. We have, like, we can also like monitor all the services. If any services will be fall down, we can able to recover or rectify that particular services in the which are like connected with the different node in the entire microservice architecture. Okay, so load balancing is what? Load balancing is this is the feature where we are going to like just like sharing the like instance of the particular, you can say, the traffic instance to the different services, so that in case of, suppose in case of any festival session, suppose some laptop, okay, laptops or ACs are become very cheaper in some festival sessions, or mobile will become cheaper in case of if any Durga Puja vacations and all. उस टाइम क्या होगा कि इस फ्लिपकार्ट के सर्वर के ऊपर, इस पर्टिकुलर सर्विस के ऊपर लोड ज्यादा बढ़ेगा, राइट? कि कस्टमर विल जस्ट पास मेनी request on this way, on the mobile to purchase the mobile, okay? And in that case, this particular services will be loaded, right? In that case, we have the mechanism in the microservice where we can balance this loaded, and we are going to distribute the particular load or instance of this traffic, this particular request traffic to the, we can distribute the load to the different server also, right? So we can able to balance the load if the request is going to like increase. Suppose every server having some capacity to listen the particular request from the client, right? Suppose some server having can listen 200 requests, some server, a server can listen 500 requests, right? We can able to configure that also, right? So in that case, if the load will be increased on the particular server, we can able to manage using this particular microservice environment using the, in case of Spring Boot, we can able to easily able to manage using one of the annotation called load balancing, right? So this is what we are going to like achieve actually. So we are going to like design one web application, or we are going to design one web service. But what we'll do, we are not going to keep all the services in the same application. We are going to just separate our services into different microservice environment, okay? So let me just start how to create this, how to design these microservices into, how to design the first microservices. First, the skeleton will be how we'll create the skeleton for this, okay? So let me just go to my Eclipse once, okay? So we can, I'm going to start the STS, okay? Two-minute everyone, just I'm starting my STS to just design this server. It's become very slow actually. So guys, I'll just try to understand this actually, and parallelly you don't develop parallelly. Once you can understand, I'll share this code, my code. You can just execute and check this microservice part. Okay, okay. Or else if you want, you can parallelly also you can try with me. That also you can do. क्योंकि इसमें ज्यादा आज L1 इसमें ये कर लेंगे, कंप्लीट करेंगे तो HTML आता है आप लोग को? HTML सबको
यस सर आता है।
क्या जी?
यस सर आता है।
आता है ना HTML, तो आप लोग को आता
यस
होगा
सर।
जितना। हाँ, HTML जस्ट ये करना है, HTMल तो आता ही है, तो माइक्रो सर्विस में थोड़ा सा ध्यान दीजिए, और L1 में भी ज्यादा ध्यान देना है। चलिए, सो हाउ विल डू, सो मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ कि आई एम गोइंग टू क्रिएट सम माइक्रो सर्विसेज फर्स्ट। सो फर्स्ट आई एम गोइंग टू डिजाइन अ सर्वर, and with that server I want to integrate the other microservices. तो पहले मैं एक सर्वर बनाता हूँ, तो एक प्रोजेक्ट बनाता हूँ, स्प्रिंग स्टार्टर प्रोजेक्ट, ओके? नाउ in the spring starter project, I'm going to use your spring, or not spring, suppose I'm going to design a practo type of healthcare service, right? Have you like in that healthcare services, we have the doctor and we have the list of patient also, right? And for that two microservices, I want to design a server. Guys, give me 2 minutes. I'm getting one call. 2 minutes. Okay, so let me start now. So here I'm saying Practo anything. Practo, yes, I'm giving the name server app. I'm going to use the Maven as a tool, build tool, Java version 17, 17, language Java. Okay, and I'll say com dot cg dot, okay, com dot cg. I'm giving the name, this package name, root package name. Okay, next. Now, what are the dependency I need over here? So I'm going to first create a server. So I need two dependency here, Spring Web, obviously Spring Web first. Okay, and second I need the particular Netflix Eureka search. You can see here. So I told this microservice are cloud enabled. So we need, see, I'm going to create a server, right? So Spring Boot provides me one library to create a server, right? And it's a Eureka server. So Spring Cloud Netflix Eureka server. So this is the server. So this particular application will be treated as a server. So I'm going to use here Eureka server. So this library or this dependency I'm adding with this. Okay. So now next is I need one more dependency that is already you know Spring Boot development tool. Okay, dev tool. Okay, so development tool I'm going to use. So it's already there over here. So just I'm selecting for my server creation this three part actually. One is Spring Web, one is the Spring Boot development tool, and one is the Eureka server. Okay, next, and I'll say finish. Okay, since some see you can see here this is now it's done ready here. Okay, dot no not this one. I think back to server is this. Okay, I need to minute just changing the version actually because for my case 1.8 Java is there, 2.4.3. Okay, but in your case if it is version is supporting, then you can just continue with this 3.3.2 also. And if it is not, then you can just use the compatibility issue. I'm just using this 2.4.3 for the Spring Boot starter parent, and for the cloud version also you can see here 20, just I'm going to 2020.0.0. So this is also I'm changing, and in my case JDK 1.8 is there, so I'm changing on that. So now if I build my application, let me just build it. 2 minute, just as a Maven update project, and this project around update, not this one, back to server app. Just let me close this Eclipse once because it's taking time to. Guys, if you want, you can also just uh, add check this at the same time because it's taking time to load everything, building this process. 2 minute. So what I did here, I just created one application for server. What I did, let me just write the steps also. The same step I share with you also. Okay, so notepad, just writing here. So first I'm designing. First I am designing one server, one server to register all my other microservices. Okay, so step one, what I did, step one, so I have added three dependencies. So I have created one Spring Boot, I have created one Spring Boot project with three dependencies. Okay, like what are the dependencies we have added? Number one, we have added Spring Web, Spring Spring Web. Okay, number two, I have added Spring Boot development tool. Number three, I have added Spring Eureka, Spring Cloud. So I will use Spring Cloud. Which cloud? Eureka Cloud. Eureka Net Eureka server I have added. Okay, this dependency I have added. Okay, so so this dependencies I have added over here. Okay, and for version problem, since I'm using 1.8, that's why JDK 1.8 actually 1.8. That's why to configure I've changed some configuration. I've changed some project level configuration. 2 minute configuration, like Spring Boot parent version I changed. Spring Boot parent version to 2.4.3 and Spring Cloud server version. Spring Cloud server version कितना मैं किया 2020.0.0. Let's see you have this step one. अभी yeah, स्प्रिंग क्लाउड में यूरेका सर्वर, यूरेका ये वाला देखिए, यूरेका सर्वर लिखिए, ये देखिए ये लिखा है स्प्रिंग क्लाउड स्टार्टर नेटफ्लिक्स यूरेका सर्वर। फिर से मैं बता रहा हूँ, देखिए फाइल में जाएंगे, न्यू स्प्रिंग स्टार्टर प्रोजेक्ट, और मान लीजिए इसको मैं नेक्स्ट करता हूँ। हाँ, इसमें देखिए, इसमें लिखेंगे यूरेका सर्वर, स्प्रिंग क्लाउड डिस्कवरी में आएगा यूरेका सर्वर। अब क्लाइंट बनाएंगे तो यूरेका क्लाइंट, अभी सर्वर है, सर्वर के लिए यूरेका सर्वर, और स्प्रिंग वेब और स्प्रिंग बूट डेवलपमेंट टूल। अभी भी मेरा कितना परसेंट है, 0। अच्छा, ये इनिशियलाइज कर रहा है सारा कुछ। let me refresh it once and let me again Maven, and I'm going to again update my project once again. 2 minutes, it's become very slow. I've added everything. 2 minute Java build path. It's not showing. But it's become very slow actually. आप लोग का भी थोड़ा सा फर्स्ट टाइम ना स्लो होगा। मैं थोड़ा रिपोजिटरी, लोकल रिपोजिटरी को डिलीट किया था, उसके बाद से थोड़ा सा स्लो डाउनलोड कर रहा है। So, some operations build first. Guys, give me 2 minutes. Let me open it again. Delete it. Okay, so 2 minutes. Let me एक बार मैं थोड़ा सा अपना सिस्टम करता हूँ, सिस्टम नहीं इसको क्लोज करता हूँ। आप लोग का किसी का just in the, go to the configuration class which is there in the root package. Okay, in the configuration class, just opening here, just with this class we are going to annotate one more annotation to enabling the functionality to act as a server. So we have to go use here enable Eureka server. You can see here this is the particular annotation is there. So this annotation is like it resides in the Netflix Eureka server, this particular library. So this library we have already added in our application. Now we can able to add this particular Eureka, enable Eureka server. This is the marker annotation which is marking this configuration class to like treat this application as a Eureka server and provide all the functionality. And now I'm going to use one more configuration for my particular this part. 2 minutes, guys. Give me 2 minutes. Okay, so let me just go to this part. So here I'm going to use in the application.properties file. This is the configuration file. So here I'll say Eureka. Eureka, you can see here Eureka Eureka dot client. Okay, client dot register with Eureka. You can see here this is the Eureka dot client dot register with Eureka, and it's going to take the boolean value. Okay, so this boolean value is true. True, if by default it's a true. Okay, so true means what indicates whether or not this instance should register. So saying that true means its instance should register with the information with the Eureka server for discovery by others. In some case, you don't want your instance to be discovered, whereas you just want to discover the other instances, you can make it false also. So you can say here, I'm going to use as a false. So okay, so Eureka dot client register with Eureka server. So I'm going to just say false. For what purpose? So like your instance should be discovered, where you just want to do the discover for the other instances. So we'll just check for the other instances to be registered in this. And one more configuration we're going to make. So Eureka uh, client, okay, dot we can say fetch. I hope fetch registry. Yes, fetch registry. I'm only make it false. So this two configuration, and server dot port number. I'm going to say 8761. Okay. So this is my particular server application, and this is my configuration, and this is my dependency I've added. Okay. So this if I run this application once, so run this Spring Boot application, back to service. Okay. Okay, so you can see here is running on the 8761. Okay, let me just open on with the browser. Let me check what's happening. So localhost, I'm saying 8761. Okay, and you can see this browser will open like this. Okay, so Eureka, your server is going to start here, and you can see some things are there in this, some informations, system status information is given. Okay, here, but this part is important for us. Which instances are currently registered with my server, with this Eureka server? Okay, so but till now I have not created any client service, and I have not configured to be registered with my Eureka server, right? So for that I have to create two more web service, right, or microservice. And that's microservice, once I'll run this particular my server, this other microservices instances should be contained by this particular, or should be registered and should be displayed over here. This which applications are running, what is the status of the application, and what is the like port number, on which port number the applications are running. So this information will come over here once I'll create any microservice, and once I'll run this micro server with this particular and add this, I register that microservice with this server. Okay, so you can be able to get all the information about that. Now here you can see our Spring Cloud is running on this particular its own IP address 192.168.0.106. Okay, so this is the IP address on this, your entire this server IP address on this particular other microservices are going to be registered. Okay, so to create this, to design this server, we have just added this few information here over here. We added the this libraries. We have just in the configuration class, we have just marked this to enable the functionality of my server. So I have used here at the rate enable Eureka server. And in the application.properties file, I have just configured this to properties, and my port number I have just used as a 8761. This is the default one for the server. Okay, so that I've used. So my server is ready now. Now I'm going to create two microservices. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll go to the file, I'll say new Spring Starter project. Okay, and let me terminate it. This Spring Starter services. Okay, and I'm going to create new Spring Starters project, and here I'll say Practo Doctor app. Suppose Practo Doctor app. Okay, I'll give there not CG, I change CG, but it's Okay, so here also cg dot cg just I used. Okay, com.cg. Okay, practo doctor app, and here I used com.cg. Next, okay, so Spring Web Dependency I use, MySQL driver I use, the database also, Spring Boot development tool I used, Spring Data JPA I'll use, and I'll use here Eureka client. Okay, so client also, this cloud service I'll add, this cloud dependency I'll add for client. Okay, so this service I want to make as a client. Okay, so Spring Data JPA, Spring Boot development tool, MySQL driver, and Spring Web I'm going to use for this. These are the dependencies I'm going to add with this. Okay, and now let me start here next, and I'll say finish. So you can see here your application will be Practo Doctor App came here. Okay, and now I'll just change this some configuration. I have to just change over here. So just make it, we can just make it anything for this. Mm, for this MySQL version use here, I'm going to make as 2.1, and let me just change my version of date. Yeah. So, and I'm going to just MySQL version also I'm going to provide over here 8.0.31. Yeah, so let it build the application. So it will take few seconds or few minutes, and it will I think it's now it's become very fast. You can see here it's showing 75%.
সে জাভার ভার্সনটা কত দিলেন? স্প্রিং ক্লাউড ভার্সন?
আমার স্প্রিং বুট প্যারেন্ট ভার্সন রাইট এইটা।
না, স্প্রিং ক্লাউড ভার্সন মানে জাভার পরে যেটা।
আচ্ছা, ক্লাউডটা আমি দিয়েছি 20.20 টু 20.0.0।
আচ্ছা স্যার।
20.0.0, and now I think let me just refresh once. Back to Dr. App, Maven, update project, course update. Yeah, now it's build everything. Okay, so everything is fine now. If any problem, then you can change it. Okay, so now in the, if here in the com.cg doctor application, I'll just add it here. Suppose something system dot out dot println doctor service started. Okay, started like that, so that I can get some system as capital I have to use. Okay, so, and one more thing, in the application.properties file, I'll just give some few configuration. Port I'll give suppose 7080 or anything, and let me just take the configuration for database, because I'll create a separate database for this. So I'll just use this configuration for this database. Okay. Let me just here use this. Okay. And Just create a separate database for this. Everything is fine. Just I'm creating one database. In the MySQL workbench, I'll open and I'll just create a separate database for this. Okay, so let me close this and let me go open this MySQL workbench, and I have already created the connection for you, Capgemini 8th July here only. I'll just add, I'll create a database here. Create database, micro doctor db1 db. Okay, micro doctor db, and I'll just execute this. Okay, so micro doctor db, suppose this is a database for doctor, and I'll create a separate database for patient also in the separate service. Okay, so two services I'm going to create. And now let me, without anything, I have not created any entities and all, but just show me, just show you that what's happening if I'm adding this. So let me, if I'm running this actually, so let me run it. So run as Spring Boot app. To uh, terminate this once. To server app. First, I'm going to run the server app. Okay. So server will start first. Okay. And on that server, I'm going to run my this Spring Boot client. The client is showing some problem. 2 minutes. Boots. Okay, so I have to change something in the version of the parent over here. Okay, so let me just change it. 2 minutes. Here in the 2.7.11 I've given, because here you can take 2.4.3, 0.8. Let it start once again. I will terminate it once, and I'm going to just refresh it, and I'm going to again updating this project. So just I have did one thing here. I'll say you this here. I just changed some version of the Spring Boot parent, because cloud I used 2.4.3, the same version I'm using for the client also, for the Eureka client, because it's just mismatching with the this dependency actually, Netflix Eureka client. Okay, so let me start this once again with this. First, I'll start the server so that I can able to check that whether everything is fine or not. And then I'm going to use this client also, everything, because client I've not wrote any code. Okay, yes, you can see here this is the output we are getting. You can see that client is started, so client service started, and let me just check in this actually. Here you can see the instances information. See, instances currently registered with my server is what? Doctor Practo Doctor app. So this is the application. This is the microservice which is registered with the server. Okay, and what is the port number for this? You can see it's running on this this particular port number. So now I'm not getting, actually nothing is there. No, so this is running on this port number. So this all services will be registered over here, and for me now only one service is running called doctor app, and that is showing here status on the server will run. Okay, so now in the doctor app, I'm going to, in the root package, I'm going to create the again the same layers, model layers or entity layers. Okay, form.cg.entity. Okay, and in the here I'm going to create the package for service. Here I'll create the package for repository. Okay, dot repository dot repos, and here I'll create the package for controller dot controller. So I'm creating a service that just like how we created in your project. Okay, so the same way I'm creating the this services over here. Okay, so let me just create in the entity. I'm going to create a doctor service first. So new Java class, I'll give the name doctor. Okay, I'll give the name doctor class. Okay, let me terminate this one. Yes, okay, and I'll say for if you are a doctor, some attributes I'm going to declare over here: private, string, long, doctor, doctor ID. Okay, mm, private, string, doctor name. Okay, and private we can say string, doctor specialty. Okay, uh, suppose if the personal information, if you want, you can say doctor mobile number, doctor phone. Okay, and we can have this also called doctor experience. Okay, so suppose I'm have, if you are a doctor, so these are the information: doctor ID, doctor name, doctor specialization, phone number, and the experience of that particular doctor. Okay, entity, and let me makes as a table, a different table actually in the database. Okay, so I'm going to use here called doctor table. Okay, so in this my doctor's table will be created. Here I'm going to use this as at the rate ID. So ID I'm going to use for that. Okay, so this is the particular part. Here I have created the information for the doctor. Okay, now and let me find the certificates for this doctor attributes for this doctor class. Okay, so this is my doctor class is ready and simple. And now I'm going to create one service for the doctor. Okay, but before that I need to create a repository, a simple repository for the doctor. So I'm going to create a doctor repository here. So interface, I'll give a doc repository or doctor repository here. Okay, and which will extends from JPA repository. Okay, extends from JPA repository, which will manage doctor entity, and the type will be long. Okay, so this is what I'm going to give over here. So I'm going to create one interface, and doctor I'm going to import from the this package, model package actually. So doctor I'm going to import from the model package or entity package. Okay, so this is my repository I have created, and let me create one service also. Okay, so in the service. uh, I'm going to create one class. I'll say doctor service. Okay, it's doctor service class, and I'll say at the rate service annotation for that. Okay, and I'll add this add doctor public doctor. Okay, public doctor, uh, add doctor, or we can say first we have to add this doc information to the doctor, right? And I'll say this will take the object of doctor object. Okay, so doctor entity, and I'll use here add doctor, and I'll say private. I'll just inject the dependency of doctor repository over here. So doc repos, okay, and inject using the Spring core feature using auto void, and I'll say return the what is this doc repos dot, you can say save doctor. Okay, save the object of doctor. So I use return statement because you understood, because the same method is going to return the same object which is going to persist it. Okay, so that is the reason I'm just returning this object of this doctor. Okay, now I'm defining some more methods over here. So public, we can say that list of doctor I want, when I'll say that fetch doctor by specialization. Fetch doctor by specialization. Uh, we can say fetch doctor by specialization. List of doctor also will come. Single doctor object also will come. Anything. So fetch doctor, uh, doctor by specialization. Okay. So you can say that now. So for that you have to write the query. So make it simple actually, so that we can able to do using this. You can say return uh, doc repos dot uh, find by doctor, but this method I have to declare. So in the repository I can say here that private public, uh, the return type should be doctor object, and find by, what is the entity name I attribute name I given, specialization, doctor specialization. Okay, so D capital, D should be capital over here. So you can see here, so doctor specialization I can able to give, D should be capital over here, and based on the string, this attribute name doctor spec. Okay, spec. Okay, so here find by doctor specialization. Okay, I'll say spec. Okay, SPC. So fetch doctor by this specialization, this name. Okay, so that is also is going to return the same doctor part. Okay. Now in the controller, let me create a controller here. So in the controller class, a controller, I'm going to create a controller called doctor controller. Okay, doctor controller. Okay. In the doctor controller, I'll just annotate it with the rest controller annotation, and I'll inject the dependency of private. I'll say private. What is this? Doctor service, right? So doctor service का object मुझे चाहिए to add my doctor and fetch the doctor, suppose. So I'm going to use auto annotation for this. And doctor service I'm going to use from the cg.service. Okay. So now in this I'm going to use the this methods for public. Okay, doctor, uh, create doctor, create doctor, and I'll say that doctor object doc, and I'll use the doctor. I'm going to import from the entity package, and here I'll use the request body annotation for this. Okay. And what I'll do here, I'll say return the service object dot add doctor, and I'll say doc. I'll pass over here. Okay. Is do you can do in the future one thing also, you can create that DTO layer also. Okay. So I can able to transform my data actually. uh, Suppose doctor, I want this information to the database, but I want I want to store only few information to the database, or so in that case, to transform our data, right, to communicate smooth communication, and for hiding purpose, we can use the DTO layer also. But that I've used entity right now. Okay, in the next example, in the patient, I'll show you the DTO part actually. So return service dot doctor, as of now I'm using here. Request me, otherwise I have to change so many things, it will be confusing again. So doctor service request body doctor, and here I'm going to use that public doctor, uh, doctor get doc by, you can say specialization. Okay, so I'll say string spec, okay, spec, and I'll use here at the rate path variable annotation, because what I'll do here, I'm going to say that here I'm going to use the get mapping annotation obviously, and here I'll say that fetch fetch doctor by specialization. Okay, path variable I'm going to use for that, and here I'm going to use this is bracket, and here I'm going to provide that return so service dot find doctor specialization, and that's going to return the same doctor object. Find doctor by ID specialization, anything you can able to use for this. So my doctor controller is also ready, and which is running on this particular port number 7080. Okay, and let me actually run this application and add the doctor information to my particular table, which I have generated over here. So this is nothing, this is an independent, and I'll create a patient, and patient and doctor will communicate with each other. Okay, so like that way we are going to design, that is what we are developed like this. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to run this application once again, server also once again, so terminating everything. So let me just close this, all this part. So everything I have created, controller I have done, test controller, and here I have to use post mapping annotation. Actually, I forgot to use that, and I'll say here add doc. Okay, add the doc doctor. Okay, so everything is fine now. Okay, and now let me run the server first once again, and then I'm going to add the doctor first. So first I'm going to run this server once again to make it everything in place, and I'm going to close this right now, close this right now. Okay, and going to this one again, I'll say localhost 8761 server will start, and now with this I'm going to start this. So this application doctor service started. Okay, you can get the message also, but since everything is running in the same thread, so sometime so if we'll refresh it, you'll get this. So doctor running, Proacto doctor app is running on this port number. Now I'm going to open fine with that my postman. I'm going to open my postman. Okay, in the postman, because my server is on, everything is registered. So in the postman, I'll go and in the doctor controller, I'm having this URL, right? URL is localhost colon add hyphen add hyphen doc. So this is this colon port number is 7080, I think slash add hyphen doc. I have to give this particular information over here, right? So this URL I have to hit to post a doctor details. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to say that add doctor. I'll use here post. I say body raw JSON. Okay. And here what I'll do, see, uh, if I'm use the DTO layer, the in the DTO attributes we can pass in the postman, but here I'm using the same layer, so I have to use this attribute name, doctor name. Okay, so let me just close this all this part. So here I'll say doctor name, suppose Ravi. Okay, and now let's say that doctor experience. Okay, doctor experience is, it's not experience, specialization, I think. Okay, so he is the eye specialist. Okay, and next is what, doctor phone number. So doctor phone number is the next attribute, so I'm going to use this th over here. So I'll say here doctor phone number, and phone number I'm going to use something, some value over here in the as the phone number of the doctor. Okay, so phone number comma, and then I have to use this experience. Okay, so this experience also I'm going to use this doctor experience. Okay, experience is 3 or something, and here I'll say doctor ID also I have to give, because I have not generated this value from by using auto increment. You can generate auto increment, then you don't need to pass it. The server will, database server will create for that 108 suppose. So I'll give one comma. So this is what doctor details I've given over here. Okay, and if I say send this request with this, so you can see here this doctor object is created over here, and you can see here this in that if I'll just refresh my database, I'm refreshing my database once. You can see here micro, what is this, micro doctor DB. Okay, so micro doctor DB, I'm refreshing once again, or else I'll say here show tables in this. If I'll execute, it will show me all the tables whatever present. For that I have to say use micro doctor DB. So this is what my database name I given. Okay, so to hold all this information about the doctor and all, and if I run run these queries right now, okay, doctor table is there. Okay, and in the doctor table you can see select all from, okay, this doctor table. If I'll say, I'll get this all informations whatever I have set from my postman. You can see here it's there. Okay, so that means this is working. Now the next controller what I have defined over here, that is our fetch doctor by specialization. Okay, that is also I should get. Okay, so here if I'll say localhost fetch doctor by specialization, and if I'll give here eye specialist, I am having the eye specialist with me. Okay, so I'll say get. Okay, I'll say send, and I'll get the only one doctor which is present. So status is 200, you can see. So I'm getting this well. This service is working fine. Okay, and I'll create one more service called patient service now. So guys, do one thing. We can take one simple one tea break, right? So that we can have our breakfast, and after that, I just design the patient service also, and we'll just communicate with this doctor and patient. Okay, so that, well, this microservice will design like that. So now we are going to take one small break, छोटा सा break लेके उसके बाद से हम लोग फिर से ज्वाइन
हेलो
करेंगे.
सर।
सर
या
सर
सर
प्रॉपर्टीज फाइल का भेज
प्रॉपर्टीज फाइल का पूरा हम भेज दे रहे हैं अभी आपको.
Okay, sir.
हाँ, और बताइए।
Hello, sir.
हाँ, हाँ।
Can you mark my attendance? I have joined late, little bit.
एवरीवन जॉइन ना, 2 मिनट, लेट मी चेक देन। वजीर, आप एक काम करेंगे ना, वो थोड़ा सा स्क्रीनशॉट इसका ले लीजिएगा, वही वही अटेंडेंस हो जाएगा तुम्हारा,
ठीक है सर, हम ले लेंगे।
है ना। आप
ठीक
अभी
है।
भी एक ले लीजिए, सब रहेंगे।
ठीक सर।
क्योंकि आप लोग देखिए, इसको भी रिकॉर्ड कर लीजिए, तो क्या होगा कि आप लोग यदि मतलब कहीं जाएंगे भी तो सुन पाएंगे, बाद में भी कुछ
हाँ
पढ़ेंगे
सर,
भी, सुन पाते सुन।
रिकॉर्ड चल रहा है, वो संदीप कर रहा है सर।
जी जी, ठीक है ठीक। तो मैं इसको भेज देता हूँ, और उसके बाद से हम लोग एक ब्रेक ले लेते हैं,
ठीक सर।
उसके बाद से फिर मिलते हैं हम पेशेंट वाला। So now I'm going to create the. I hope that everything is fine. So go to the file, new, one more microservice I'm going to create. So I have created, first off, I created the server,
सर आपका
and
स्क्रीन नहीं
also
दिख
we
रहा
have created one doctor app. नहीं दिख रहा है?
दिख रहा है सर, दिख रहा है।
दिख रहा था ना, लेकिन नेट
है।
मेरा
हाँ
फिर
सर,
से एक
हाँ
बार।
सर, आ गया।
अब चल
कहाँ, अभी
गया।
तो मैं ना, अभी मैं ये किया था। अभी आ रहा है, सबको दिखाई दे रहा है?
यस सर।
यस सर।
Okay. And I'm going to create a mapping project once again. Okay, 17. इसको करते हैं like facto app and cg or com dot cg dot p and com dot cg dot p. That's it. Anything else you can also write, this package name, class name, everything. And Eureka good development tool, Spring Wave, Spring Data JPA, and this all the dependencies I have added. Spring Boot development tool, Spring Data JPA, MySQL Server to for the database communication, Eureka Discovery Client, and Spring Wave. Then I'll say next. I'll say please. Okay, so it started, and you can see here it's Peasant app is importing or building this project actually. In the pom.xml, we just need to change few configuration. So make it this 2.4.3, and this I'm going to make as per my configuration of the Java TDK 1.8, and this I'll say 20.0. That's what and here the same way I'm going to change this version of the specifying the version of the my MySQL server, MySQL driver actually, not server, driver. So 8.0.31. Right click, refresh, and update. Update the project. So again, I think it, so 2 minutes. It will take few minutes to can see here that if you'll come here and if I'll run this application, now you can see the entire structure of this project has been created. Okay, so in this, I'm going to just write here that the notification just I'm giving that uh, present server or the okay client app started start. Okay, and I'll just change the configuration of my database for this current microservice. Okay, so I'll change as I'll say that server should run on this port number. Servers dot, we can say port, we can say 90 80 90 or 90 70, anything we can give. And here in the case of doctor app, I have already used the database configuration that I'm just keeping inside this. Okay, just saving these details, and I'll just move forward to the database part. I'll create one more database. So create a database. I'll give the database name micro doctor db, not doctor db. Okay, and I'll execute this. I'll say use this db micro p-a-t-i-e-n-t db. Okay, and use the db. Okay, okay, so this I'm going to just execute. Now, so this database is created out. Here we are getting this message or create database micro db patient db is there. So this database I'm going to configure with this microservice. Okay, so suppose I'm going to give here that. And now let me just run this two microservice and the server also, whatever the server we have created earlier. So let me just terminate this console once and go to this patient server. It's not patient server, it's a practice server. So I'm going to create this server once and I'm going to run this application, Spring Boot application. Okay, I'm going to run the Practo patient app also. Patient app is created and I'm going to run the doctor app also. Let me just run this. You can see I'm going to run this doctor app also. So two microservice is going to be registered with one server. And now I'm going to say that Eureka server is open over here and localhost 8761. You can see this notification here. My two microservices are running on the different port number. One is Practo Doctor app and the Practo Patient app. This second one. These two apps are running in the 7080 port number. This doctor and patient is running on the 9070 port number. Okay. So now I want to just create a patient, but I need some information of doctor also while I'm creating the patient actually, right? So I'm registering a patient with the information of doctor. Okay, so I'll create a patient. So let me go to my application, and here what I'll do, I'll just create quickly some packages or some business layers to right create a different entity components. One I'll say entity package. Second one I'll create one service package. Third one I'll create one very simple this you can say controller package. Okay, controller. And so I have created service entity controller. And one more thing I need, I'll just create one repository package also. So I'll create one dot repository package, repos package, or you can say anything about this name. Okay. So in the patient entity, I'm going to create one Java class. I'll give the name of the class patient class. Okay, PIENT. So I'll give the name of the class as a patient class. Okay. Now patient, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to make this patient as my entity. Let me just terminate this. Okay. Let me just make this patient as an entity. Okay. And what I'll do here, suppose very simple, try to understand. So private long, I'll just use the patient ID. Every patient once will be registered in my system, he or she have the ID. Okay. And I'll also give the name of the patient. So name of the patient. Okay. And I'll also give the particular uh, name of the patient. Okay. Health issue of the patient. Okay. So that description also I'll just take from that health issue. I'll also take the information about the particular age of the patient. What should be the age of this patient is very important information. And with the patient, so this suppose health issue I collected, name I have collected, age I have collected. That's it from the patient is enough. Now with patient, some doctor also should be like included, right? Patient is going to be taken care by the doctors, right? So I'll say that every patient having some doctor name. So which doctor is going to taking care for this patient? So one doctor should be like added with the patient. Okay. And like you can also say or else you can also just declare a doctor ID also, that also you can able to do. But I'm going to say which doctor, what is his ID. So we can also able to get the ID of the doctor. Okay, doctor ID, which doctor, what is his ID. Okay, so I can able to fix the entire doctor details if I get the particular ID of the doctor. And I want to also say what is the specialization of the doctor. Okay, what is the specialization of the doctor. So this is the patient information I'm going to create. Okay, and this three information, this four information, I'll store from this patient, right? This patient, this four information is the information about the patient. Okay, but this doctor informations I have to take from the different microservice, right? So already we have stored the doctor details in the database. You can see here, this doctor details are present over here from this doctor. So here we are not going to create a new doctor with the patient. So existing doctor I want to like include with this patient. Okay, so the doctor information should come from the different service. Okay, and with that information and including this information, I want to store this patient information. Okay, so what I'll do, for every patient the particular registration number should be unique. So I'm going to just declare a primary key for this. Okay, so here you can change the table name. Okay, so what should be the table for the patient should be created. So you can say PINT dot table. Okay, now I'll just define the segregator methods and name should be the attribute for this. Okay, so I'm going to define the segregator method for this. Okay, now I'm going to create. So doctor is services I've created. So now I'm going to create in the service. patient service. I'm going to create one service called patient. So right click new. I'm going to create a Java class. I'll give the class name called patient service. PAT service. Okay. And I'll annotate this with at the rate service annotation. Okay, service annotation. Okay, and what I'll do here, I'll say private, okay, patient repository, okay, repository, okay, I can say repos or something. So patient repository I have to create. So I'll let me create one interface called patient repository. Mhm. Repository over extends. I'll just give the same name. Extends JPA repository, and I'll say that patient and his ID is long. Okay. So patient I'm going to import from the package. Okay, and this object I need to inject. So I'll just copy and paste it over here, and I'll say this should be auto-wide annotation for that. Okay, so patient repository public patient register, we can say register patient. Okay, and I'll pass the patient details p and return the this repos dot, okay, save method, and I'll say this p should be set to that patient import from the entity package. Okay. So I'm having this repository for the patient, I'm having the service for the patient, everything is ready now. Okay, I'm having the patient repository, I'm having the patient service, I'm in the patient entity. Okay, and now I'm going to create a controller for the patient. So let me just create a controller for the patient controller. So I'm going to create a Java class PATIENT patient controller. Okay, in the patient controller I'm going to annotate with the REST controller annotation. So I'm going to use the REST controller annotation for this. And now I'm going to add something in the patient controller. Let me just maximize it. Okay, okay, let me maximize it. So now what I'm going to add here, so I need the object of patient service first of all. So I need the patient service object, patient service. Okay, I say service. Okay, and this I'm going to use auto wide annotation for this. Okay, patient service, and I'm going to use this patient service from the service package. And here I'll say that public one method I'm going to just define patient. I'll say register patient, PATIENT patient. Okay, and what I'll do here, I'll register the patient, uh, and for that I need few information about that patient, right? So I'll say patient object I need PIENT, PITIENT, and I need the uh, I need the patient object, right? Let me just keep over here. So I'll say request body patient. Okay. So request body patient I'm going to import from the entity package. Okay. So let me just leave over here. Okay. So patient information I'll get, but what I told, but for this patient information I need, sorry, I can able to say patient ID I can store. Patient information can be name. Patient information can be health issue. Patient information can be the age of the patient. This is what the patient information. But this value, so once the patient I'll also ask the patient which doctor do you need, the heart specialist or eye specialist. Okay, so if the patient will say, yeah, I need the eye specialist, then only the based on the specialty of the doctor I can able to assign that doctor with this patient, and this doctor information is there in the particular different is there in a different database, and which is running and which is saved by the different microservice, right? So I need to call that service to fetch the doctor details based on the specialization. So that means once the patient is going to register, patient will give the information about patient's like personal information, and patient should also have to pass particular this specialization for what is specialization means, which doctor you need actually, that is the specialization part. These two inputs patient have to pass. Okay, so now I want to create one post mapping type of mapping. Okay, so I want to create this I want to register this patient, so that is the reason I'm using post mapping. Okay, and in the post mapping I'll say this path, I'll say the path, say that register, okay, register hyphen p patient, okay, and slash based on the specialization, and I'll use here at the rate path variable annotation for this. So request body patient I'm going to import from the patient from this package. Okay, so request body patient and path variable from this. So patient I'll give from the JSON, and here in the path value I'll pass the some specialization I or something. You can also pass using a parameter also. Okay, so here I have taken this. Now what I'm going to do, I want to call the particular, right, uh, service, right, to get the patient of a doctor object, sorry, doctor details. Yeah, so obviously doctor object. Okay, so I need to call the service. So service name is what, मेरा सर्विस जो बनाया था मैं डॉक्टर का, उस सर्विस को कॉल करना है, और उस सर्विस का क्या नाम है, उस सर्विस का नाम है आपका प्रैक्टो डॉक्टर ऐप. So this service I have to call. Okay, which is running on the this port number. Okay, and I have to call the service का इस कंट्रोलर को मुझे कॉल करना, सॉरी इस URL को, एंड पॉइंट URL को मुझे कॉल करना है, this URL. So I have to call this from my service. I have to call another service. Okay, so suppose this is running on the 7080 port number. Obviously 7080 I given over here. Let me check it. Yeah, 7080 port number. And what is the name? Fetch, FETCH, fetch hyphen DOC, specialization I or something I will give over here. So it will return one doctor object if I hit this URL. Okay, so I need to call this part from here, but how I'll call it actually? How I'll get the object? First, I need the object of the this doctor microservice, right? How I'll get that object? Who will give me the object for this microservice, right? So in the Spring Cloud client service, Netflix client library already we have added. Is in that particular library there is one predefined component is there called discovery. You can say the name is discovery client actually. Okay, so you can see here the name of this is discovery client. Okay, discovery, you can say discovery client. Okay, and I'm going to create the object of this client. Okay, so this reference of the client, and whatever the object is there for this client, this interface, this should be auto add for that. So I have injected that object. Okay, so what is the use of this discovery client? So represent the read operations commonly available to discovery services, right? So let me just check what is the read operations are available in this. So I'll say client, CLIENT, client dot. There is the method is there called. You can say is the method is there called get instances. Client dot get instances. What is the name? Get instances method, right? Instances. That means it's going to return the list of service instance. Service means the web service microservice object. Okay. So get all the service instances associated with the particular service ID. So this method is very, very important. Here I'll say which service I want to get the information. I want this service, right? Factor Doctor app. I'll say I'll go here and I'll pass it to this. This is the service. For this service which is running, I need the list of I need this particular object, right? So basically this method is going to return list of service instances. So that I'm going to say list of service instance. Okay, services list I'm going to import from the util package, and service instance I'm going to import from the cloud.client package. Let me just make it clear this part. Okay, and equal to, let me give. So this is the list of services are there. Okay, now once I'll get the list of services, from that list of services I need a single service instance. So I'll say service instance. Okay, okay, service instance, service instance equal to services is my list type dot get of 0th position, whatever the object is there, because only one instance is there, right? Because based on this particular service ID, right? So only one service called doctor service is running, and that doctor service instance I'm going to get over here. So only service one instance I'm getting, right? And for this service instance, what is the root URL? So I'll just give over here what is the root URL for this instance. So service instance, what is the URL? So get URI will return the URL. Okay, so the get URI will return the URI type for this, URI for this. Okay, so URI I'm going to import from the java.net package. So see what I'm doing here. So from the doctor controller is running on the local host 7080. So this is the my root URL actually. So this on this URL, this other like endpoints are working actually. So I need this URL actually. So what I'm doing here, I'm saying that okay. So whatever the service instance I got, for that service instance, it return that particular URL. So it will return this URL. So it will get the URL object for this localhost colon 7080 will get. Okay. If you want, you can just check it by converting into string. So that what is the URL I get? You can check by saying URI dot to string. Just this is for just checking purpose. That whatever the URL I get, I'll just check what is this URL I'm getting over here. Okay. So URL system.out.println. So let me just now. So I got this URL also. I got the service instance also. I got everything whatever I need to get for this, right? But once I've completed everything, what I need to call this particular doctor controller. This endpoint I need to call, right? So what I need to do, localhost 7080. This is my URL I got. I need to call this. So मैं जब इसके पहले मैं postman से इसको call किया था, right? So I have called this fetch doctor by based on the specialization, right? From the postman I have checked this part, right? Now I'm going to check this part from this microservice. So one microservice is going to communicate with another microservice to get some data, to get some object. Okay. So I'm going to get one object over here. I want to get the doctor object over here, right? But now the thing is that who will call, who will act as a postman? Okay. Who will act as a postman? So what they given, they introduced one concept of REST template. Okay, so REST template is a class actually. So that class object we can able to instantiate, and what we can do, that object of the class, provides so many methods, right? So many functionality to get the object or to call any service. That can be a microservice, that can be a monolithic service also, right? So we can able to call that particular service, right? So what I'll do here, I'll say that okay, I want to call that service, so I'll say new REST template. So REST template, I'll say REST template. Okay, you can see here I'm going to call the anonymous object of the REST template because I need this object of this REST template. So create a new instance of REST template using default setting, default HTTP message converter. So it's going to use this HTTP message converter to convert the JSON message to the object type, right? Dot, there's a method called, so dot, we can see here, dot I have just given over here. Dot I send get for object, you can say here. So get for object, okay, so it's going to say that okay, I'll get the object for you from invoking one URL, okay, and you have to also specify what should be the response type you want. Okay, so I'll say okay, my invoking URL is URL, okay, this URL plus with this URL, what I'll do, I want to say that okay, I'm going to modify this URL with this. I'll say okay, I need this called fetch doc. Okay, if it is fetch doc doctor, I want to make this proper URL, and this will take the this specification. Okay, so specification I'm giving whenever I'm going to call it from the postman. So from the postman, or I'll just hit this localhost 9080 or whatever, this register, what is the port number for this server? Port number for the patient is running on this is what, let me just check it, 9070. Okay, so port number for this is 9070. So 9070 is the port number, and it's a register, okay, p, and once I'll say I, so this I will be added with this specialization, this variable, and this variable I'm binding with this parameterized variable called specialization, and I'll say plus spec specialization I want, and what is the response type I need? So here I need doctor object, so it's going to return the object of doctor. If you want list, you can say list. So doctor dot, you can say class. Okay, so doctor is what doctor I have to create actually, right? क्योंकि जब मैं एक क्लास बनाऊंगा तो उस क्लास का ऑब्जेक्ट में उस प्रॉपर्टीज को मैं सेट, जब मैं क्लास बनाऊंगा देन आई कैन एबल टू डिक्लेयर द प्रॉपर्टीज एंड आई कैन एबल टू कंस्ट्रक्ट द ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ द डॉक्टर, राइट? तो ये डॉक्टर क्लास मेरा नहीं है, डॉक्टर टाइप इस पर्टिकुलर माइक्रो सर्विस में नहीं है, तो मैं क्या करूंगा, so I'll just create a doctor container actually. So I'll create one more class over here in the entity, but इसको मैं entity से annotate नहीं करूंगा, ये तो just मैं class बना रहा हूँ so that I can able to create the object. Okay, so I'll just copy and paste the same attributes. So let me just give over here in the doctor class the same attribute. I'm going to copy and paste in the entity whatever is there. Okay, so this same entity I'm going to copy and paste, and I'm going to use over here in the doctor. Okay, and I'm going to define the segregator method for this. Okay, so source segregator method for this, and I'm going to say this is the doctor, and I'm going to define the toString method also so that I can able to print this. So toString method will define for this. Okay, and this is my doctor controller. I'm going to just paste in controller is this. So I जब करेंगे तो it will going to fetch the doctor object. Let me just minimize this. Let me maximize it. So now doctor will come over here and I have to import, and it's going to return which type? Doctor type of object. Doctor DOC. Okay, and URI. I give to give here URI. Okay. And here I'll just print that doctor object. Doctor object, I'm going to print. Now, so I'm just printing for the checking purpose, right? So I got the doctor, but with the doctor, with the patient, I had to set the doctor information also. So patient object having setter method, right? Set doctor ID. I can set the doctor ID. Patient object, what I need to set the not doctor ID. I have to set like that. Doc dot get doctor ID. Okay, and set doctor name. So doc dot get doctor name. So patient dot set. We can say dot set doctor specialization is there. Doctor name is there. Doctor ID is there. Specialization also I can able to say. So doc dot specialization. Okay, SPEC. Okay, so specialization. So get doctor. So now set doctor ID, set 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 doctor ID. Okay, so yeah, it's not working because I think in the patient class I have used doctor ID as an integer. I hope and it's going to return a long. So here I have changed to, I can change it as a long. So now the problem will not come. And here also I can just declare as a long only. So 2 minute. So generate segregator for that doctor ID. Okay. And this is the patient controller. So and finally I'll return patient. So now what I did, I have set everything with the patient. Finally I'm returning this patient. I'll just run this code and I'll explain it once again. This part actually, this part I'll explain it once again. But let me just run this code first. So everything is fine now, and this is going to return the patient. Okay, so returning the patient, but before returning the patient like this way, I don't want to return the patient. I'll say that service dot register patient, and I'll pass this patient object now. Okay, so this method will return the patient object by storing into the database. Okay, now let me check whether everything is working fine or not. Everything I have done, I have completed this all part. Let me just check whether everything is working fine or not. Okay, so this is I'm going to terminate, and I'm going to start this server again. Okay, so server started Eureka server, you can see. So there is no instances are currently running in that. Okay, so now what I'll do, I'll go to first, I can open any app, any microservice, Doctor microservice I'm starting. Okay, this is also is going to run, and I'll also start this microservice also. That's Spectro Present app. If anything will be wrong, I'll check. So first let me just start with this. All the things has been configured well. Okay, so the patient DB here is this one. Okay, so and now you can see this both are, like you can observe over here, both are present. Okay, now I'm going to just check with the patient because already we have checked with the doctor app. Now I'm going to check with the patient actually 9070, which is running. Okay, so what I'll do here, localhost colon colon, what is the port number for this? 9070 actually. 9070 is running on the 9070. So 9070. Okay, and what is the name of the controller? Is so not the controller. in the patient controller. Let me check this URL now. I register P I have to check. Okay, register I want this. Here I have to say register or what I given. Let me just check. This I have to copy, otherwise register. So I'll just check with the register. Okay, and here I'll give the postman post. Okay, and what I'll do here, I'll just go to the patient entity, patient ID I'm giving, patient name I'll give, health issue I'll give. Okay, I'll give here this informations over here. Okay, so here I'll give patient ID is one. Okay, and I'll say that next is what name. I'll just add. Okay, name also I'll say that name is ABC. Okay, and this health issues I'll give XYZ anything just for checking purpose. So health issues is, I say that eye problem. Okay, so now next is what we have, the age of the patient. Okay, age of the patient, something I'm going to give over here. Age I'll give as 5. So that's it. I'm giving this information for the patient. Okay, and let me run this code with the post. I'll just say I also am passing. So from the path variable is going to take everything, and you can see it's saying U404 because let me check for register. Register. I use register, right? So 2 minute. Patient controller yeah, patient controller. Here I use register, but here I use regis. Register hyphen p this, and once I'll give this, you can see here patient ID is created and doctor is assigned also. You can see doctor name Ravi, doctor ID 108, specialization is I. So this information I have fetched from the different microservices. So I have called different microservice from my microservice, from my current microservice, right? And you can see here, you can able to get all the details of the patient also. Once you say let's start from patient. Let me just check here. So here I should get microservice patient like micro doctor DB, micro patient DB, and here you can say tables, patient table, and you can see here this patient information is also. So health is eye problem, name ABC, eye specialist patient, doctor ID. So this information we are getting from the different microservices, fetching the data from the different microservices. So this A here we are going to communicate it, and this controller I have in this patient controller actually I'm calling the doctor controller. Okay, so that is the reason I wrote this. I just initialize the object of the discovery client, and once I'll get the object of the client, we can able to get the instance based on the application ID. It will return the list of instance service instances, and from that service instance I want only one service instance. So and that service instance I want to get the URL. So that is the reason I'm going to get URI and URL. From that URL, so this URL you can see this URL will get the URL of localhost. You'll get here. It will print localhost 7080 or 9070. Okay. So now here I'm using REST template object. Okay. So REST template actually is a object of REST template. Let me just write about the REST template. So REST template is a class. So REST template you can say. You can able to also use your REST template, okay, synchronous client to perform the HTTP request. So see, whatever we are doing from the postman is now we are using to call the or access the different client, right? Different like services, endpoints, right? Here we are using REST template to create HTTP request by calling the get post everything, right? So here REST template is a class, okay? REST template programmatically is a class, REST template is a class, okay, which provides to access different microservices, okay, services and other external web services, web services, okay, web services by by calling HTTP request, calling HTTP request, okay, requests. So that here I'm using one method of this, right? What is the method? REST, new REST template, new object of the REST template I'm creating. Why is this error is saying? You know, going to a service OTH other. I'll also give you the notes on the microservice because we have very limited time. So just I'm showing this project, sorry, this application part, hands-on part. यहाँ पर सेमीकोलन रह गया है, डॉक्टर सेमीकोलन छूट रहा है.
सर लाइन 39 है इनकम्प्लीट है.
लाइन ओ अच्छा, हाँ हाँ, ये हम क्यों इधर लिखे. So REST template का object बनाए and we are just calling the get for object method by just we are getting the URI. So URI plus कौन सा कंट्रोलर को कॉल कर रहे हैं, कौन सा endpoint को. So fetch doctor based on the specialization. You can fetch any getter methods and you can able to call that particular doctor. So so based on this URI, we are getting the object of which type, response type. I'm giving the doctor type. So I'm going to initialize the doctor object into the doctor type. So doctor type class I have created over here, and in the doctor type class the same parameters I have used. और मैं patient के साथ set doctor ID, set doctor name, which is coming from the this doctor object is which is initialized into this reference is coming from the different microservice. So that way I'm going to communicate with this. So this is the way we are going to just access the microservice. I'll share you this code, this entire code, 3 services, and also I'll share you the notes I'm having on the microservices. So just share you all the particular details. You also please execute your and try to implement in different way in future. But अभी आप लोग क्या करिए, इसको एक बार एग्जीक्यूट करा के उसके बाद से आप लोग अपना थोड़ा सा HTML CSS और जावास्क्रिप्ट के ऊपर कैसे थोड़ा सा टेक्स्ट स्टैक में एक दो जो प्रोग्राम है उसको ट्राई करिए. उसमें से यदि आपको प्रॉब्लम आएगा, डाउट आएगा, आई जस्ट टेक केयर द डाउट बिकॉज
सर
बोलिए.
सर इसमें एक प्रॉब्लम मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. मतलब आपने लिखा वहाँ पे कि पेशेंट को आई प्रॉब्लम है.
हाँ हाँ हाँ,
ठीक है. तो ये कैसे मींस डॉक्टर के पास जा रहा है, आई का स्पेशलाइज्ड डॉक्टर चाहिए, वो कैसे वहाँ जा रहा है सर?
ना हम लोग इधर कॉल कर रहे हैं ना. देखिए इधर ना पेशेंट ऐप में कंट्रोलर में, पेशेंट कंट्रोलर में इधर मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ कि जब मैं मान लीजिए मैं पेशेंट हूँ, राइट.
यस.
तो जब मैं रजिस्टर कर, मैं क्या इन्फॉर्मेशन देके रजिस्टर कर रहा हूँ, ये अपना इन्फॉर्मेशन देके कर रहा हूँ.
Yes.
मेरा आईडी है, मेरा नेम है. आईडी तो ऑटो जनरेट कर सकते हैं, मेरा नेम ये है, मेरा हेल्थ इशू ये है और ये है, मैं जस्ट अपना इन्फॉर्मेशन इधर दे रहा हूँ, राइट। लेकिन अब मैं एक चीज और दे रहा हूँ, इधर एक इनपुट और दे रहा हूँ कि मुझे कौन सा टाइप का डॉक्टर चाहिए, आई का डॉक्टर चाहिए। तो मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ कि आई के स्पेशलिस्ट, मैं कंट्रोलर ऐसा बनाया हूँ इधर कि कहाँ गया मेरा ये, कंट्रोलर ऐसा बनाया हूँ कि बेस्ड ऑन द स्पेशलाइजेशन आई, मैं क्या करूंगा, मैं दूसरा माइक्रो सर्विस कॉल करके, जो माइक्रो सर्विस डॉक्टर को मैनेज कर रहा है, तो डॉक्टर ऐप में डॉक्टर का सर्विस है, चल रहा है इसमें, राइट। इस डॉक्टर ऐप में मैं डॉक्टर का एंटिटीज सब कुछ है, ये डॉक्टर का ये पर्टिकुलर सर्विस स्टोर हो रहा है कहाँ, परसिस्ट हो रहा है किस डेटाबेस में, माइक्रो डीबी में, माइक्रो डॉक्टर डीबी में, मतलब ये डेटाबेस में माइक्रो डॉक्टर डीबी बोल के डेटाबेस है, इसमें इसका इन्फॉर्मेशन, डॉक्टर का इन्फॉर्मेशन स्टोर है, और पेशेंट का इन्फॉर्मेशन दूसरा डेटाबेस में स्टोर है, दूसरा टेबल में भी है, राइट। ये डॉक्टर का इन्फॉर्मेशन है कि डॉक्टर आई स्पेशलिस्ट का डॉक्टर ये है। तो मैं क्या किया हूँ इधर कि देखिए आ गया मेरा डॉक्टर पेशेंट कंट्रोलर, पेशेंट कंट्रोलर में मैं पहले क्या चाहिए मुझे कि मुझे पहले चाहिए कि मुझे डॉक्टर का ऑब्जेक्ट चाहिए बेस्ड ऑन द स्पेशलाइजेशन, राइट। तो स्पेशलाइजेशन के अकॉर्डिंग मुझे डॉक्टर का ऑब्जेक्ट चाहिए, और ये डॉक्टर कंट्रोलर ये मेरा है इधर देखिए, डॉक्टर सर्विस में डॉक्टर कंट्रोलर में ये है, based on the specialization I need to fetch the doctor, then this method is going to be execute, and this method is going to fetch the particular doctor object based on the specialization from the doctor service। तो इस सर्विस को मुझे रन कराना है, इस सर्विस का इस एंड पॉइंट को मुझे हिट करना है पेशेंट कंट्रोलर से, जो कि दूसरा पेशेंट कंट्रोलर एक दूसरा वेब सर्विस है, राइट। तो इसके लिए मैं क्या किया हूँ कि देखिए डिस्कवरी क्लाइंट, ये ऑलरेडी हम लोग नेटफ्लिक्स क्लाउड का पर्टिकुलर ऑब्जेक्ट और सॉरी डिपेंडेंसी हम लोग अपने प्रोजेक्ट में ऐड किए हैं। सो देयर इज वन कंपोनेंट इज देयर कॉल्ड डिस्कवरी क्लाइंट, व्हिच इज वन इंटरनली प्रोग्रामेटिकली एक इंटरफेस है which represents to read operation commonly available to discovery services such as Netflix, Eureka। मतलब ये क्या काम करता है कि ये कुछ मेथड्स प्रोवाइड करता है, जैसे इसमें एक मेथड है देखिए गेट इंस्टेंस, तो मुझे एक सर्विस का ऑब्जेक्ट चाहिए तभी मैं उसका यूआरएल फेच कर पाऊंगा। तो मैं सर्विस का ऑब्जेक्ट फेच किया हूँ गेट इंस्टेंस से, कौन सा सर्विस, प्रैक्टो डॉक्टर ऐप सर्विस का। प्रैक्टो डॉक्टर ऐप सर्विस का ये कहाँ से मुझे मिलेगा, मुझे ये मिलेगा मुझे इस पर्टिकुलर एप्लीकेशन डॉट प्रॉपर्टीज फाइल में, देखिए प्रैक्टो डॉक्टर ऐप बोल के ये सर्विस का नाम है, करेक्ट। अब मुझे इस सर्विस के नाम से मुझे सर्विसेज लिस्ट ऑफ सर्विसेज मिल गया। अब उस सर्विस में क्या करूंगा, मुझे एक सिंगल सर्विस का इंस्टेंस चाहिए, उस सर्विस का इंस्टेंस से मैं क्या फेच कर रहा हूँ, उस पर्टिकुलर जो सर्विस है जो कि रन हो रहा है प्रैक्टो डॉक्टर ऐप सर्विस का यूआरएल मुझे फेच करना है। तो सर्विस इंस्टेंस का एक मेथड है गेट यूआरआई, जब सर्विस इंस्टेंस टाइप का ये एक इंटरफेस है, इसका ऑब्जेक्ट आपको मिल जाएगा, तो यू कैन एबल टू फेच द यूआरएल। यूआरएल कौन सा है, लोकल होस्ट 7080, देखिए डॉक्टर इज रनिंग ऑन दिस 7080 पोर्ट नंबर, तो यूआरएल क्या होगा, लोकल होस्ट 7080 इन दिस केस, ओके। सो ये यूआरएल ये फेच करेगा, और बेस्ड ऑन द यूआरएल मैं क्या करूंगा, उस पर्टिकुलर डॉक्टर कंट्रोलर का इसको कॉल करूंगा। तो कैसे करूंगा, अब उसको कॉल करने के लिए मुझे कैसे कॉल करना है, तो दे गिवन वन ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ रेस्ट टेम्पलेट टू कॉल HTTP टू मेक द HTTP रिक्वेस्ट। जैसे हम पोस्टमैन से इस रिक्वेस्ट को सेंड कर रहे हैं, अब ये हम लोग कर रहे हैं रेस्ट टेम्पलेट ऑब्जेक्ट से मैं सेंड कर रहा हूँ। रेस्ट टेम्पलेट ऑब्जेक्ट का देयर इज ए मेथड कॉल्ड गेट फॉर ऑब्जेक्ट, एक मेथड है। इस मेथड का दो पैरामीटर मैं पास कर रहा हूँ, क्या कि एक यूआरएल पास कर रहा हूँ, यूआरआई प्लस फेच डॉक स्लैश डॉक्टर का स्पेशलाइजेशन तो मुझे यहाँ से आ रहा है, यहाँ से स्पेशलाइजेशन वेरिएबल में स्टोर हो रहा है, और इसको मैं यहाँ पे पास कर रहा हूँ, देखिए फेच डॉक्टर स्लैश स्पेशलाइजेशन। तो ये यूआरएल ऐसे बनेगा, लोकल होस्ट कोलन 7080, हाँ पोर्ट नंबर, फेच टाइप और फेच डीओसी स्लैश स्पेशलाइजेशन आई और कुछ भी।
ये क्वेश्चन था सर, ये आपका पोस्टमैन से आ रहा है
हाँ
ना?
पोस्टमैन से आ रही है, तो इस पे यहाँ पर आ रहा है ना, ये वैल्यू इसमें स्टोर कर रहे हैं, और ये मैं इसके साथ पास कर रहा हूँ।
ठीक है सर।
डॉक्टर का ऑब्जेक्ट ये फेच कर रहा है, उसके बाद पेशेंट का ऑब्जेक्ट के साथ बाइंड कर रहे हैं, बाइंड करके हम पेशेंट का ऑब्जेक्ट को डेटाबेस में स्टोर कर रहे हैं। और ये मेरा जब मेरा डॉक्टर बनेगा तो सॉरी जब पेशेंट मैं रजिस्टर कराऊंगा तो डॉक्टर का ये पेशेंट का इंफॉर्मेशन मुझे यहाँ से मिलेगा आपका डॉक्टर से, सॉरी डॉक्टर का इन्फॉर्मेशन डॉक्टर से मिलेगा, पेशेंट का इन्फॉर्मेशन पेशेंट विल प्रोवाइड दैट। ऐसे 2 मिनट, ये क्या हो गया? हाँ, पेशेंट आईडी, एज, पेशेंट दे रहा है एज, और डॉक्टर का इन्फॉर्मेशन डॉक्टर से मिल रहा है, डॉक्टर सर्विस। सो दिस इज व्हाट दिस सिंपल स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द सर्विसेज आई हैव क्रिएटेड। तो इसको मैं एक बार भेज रहा हूँ, आप लोग भी ट्राई करिए।
सर ये system डॉट आउट डॉट प्रिंटलन DOC जो है, ये जो सर पहले डॉक्टर का जितना भी मीन्स वो रिटर्न कर रहा है सब पहले उसको प्रिंट करेगा, मतलब डॉक्टर का नेम क्या है, डॉक्टर का आईडी क्या है,
ना ना, ये मैं अपने जस्ट इसके लिए प्रिंट कर रहा हूँ ये। हाँ, डॉक्टर का जो वेब सर्विस माइक्रो सर्विस से जो फेच करके ला रहा है ना, उस डॉक्टर का ऑब्जेक्ट को ये प्रिंट करेगा उसका। लेकिन मैं ये ऑप्शनल नहीं भी लिखेंगे तो चलेगा, जस्ट ये कंसोल में पेस्ट करने के लिए मैं किया था। इधर 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 फेच ये दिखाएगा जो ऑब्जेक्ट जो आपका डॉक का वैल्यू है ना, ये दिखाएगा। लेकिन ये माइक्रोसॉफ्ट सर्वर ऑटोमेटिक हमेशा चलता है ना, इसलिए वो रिफ्रेश कर देता है, ये दिखाना है। लेकिन आप रन करेंगे तो इसमें आएगा फर्स्ट टाइम। या लॉगर में आप लॉग में लिखना चाहते हैं तो लॉग में भी लिख सकते हैं। तो ये जस्ट फॉर ऑप्शनल है, लेकिन ये इंपॉर्टेंट है। क्लाइंट डॉट गेट इंस्टेंस, सर्विस डॉट गेट URI, रेस्ट टेम्पलेट डॉट गेट फॉर ऑब्जेक्ट, और ये पेशेंट ऑब्जेक्ट के साथ बाइंडिंग, और ये सेव कर रहे हैं हम लोग डेटाबेस में। ये कंट्रोलर में हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं। ओके, तो एक बार इसको आप लोग को मैं भेजता हूँ, एक बार देखिए। एंड उसके बाद से थोड़ा सा जस्ट गिव मी 5 मिनट्स, आई विल कम बैक अगेन। 5 मिनट में मैं आता हूँ, और इसको मैं पूरा आपको भेज के और आप लोग को मैं ये कर देता हूँ। उसके बाद से अच्छा, HTML CSS में तो आप लोग को आता है, जावास्क्रिप्ट आता है आप लोग को? जावास्क्रिप्ट थोड़ा बहुत, जावास्क्रिप्ट बेसिक जावास्क्रिप्ट आता है वजीर?
हाँ थोड़ा बहुत आता है सर, उस लेवल का नहीं आता।
टेक्स्ट, हाँ, टेक्स्ट स्टैक में थोड़ा सा देखिए ना क्या क्या ये है। 2-3 क्वेश्चन HTML CSS जावास्क्रिप्ट से करिए, क्योंकि आज का थोड़ा सा टेक्स्ट स्टैक से आज का चीज थोड़ा सा करिए उसमें और मैं जावास्क्रिप्ट थोड़ा सा आप लोग को, मैं एक मेरे पास अच्छा PPT है, उससे मैं पढ़ाता हूँ।
हाँ सर, क्योंकि अभी मनीष सर से बात हुआ सर, उससे मनीष सर से मांग रहे थे कि क्या क्या आएगा L1 में, तो वो वेब बेसिक्स का भी क्वेश्चंस आएगा L1 में बोला है।
ओ, वेब बेसिस का भी क्वेश्चंस आएगा?
हाँ हाँ,
अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा,
वेब बेसिक स्ट्रिंग हाइबरनेट का भी आएगा, और जावा का भी आएगा।
ठीक है।
कोर जावा का।
मैं तब PPT ओरिएंटेड पढ़ा दूं मैं, क्योंकि कोडिंग करने लगूं तो ज्यादा टाइम जाएगा।
नहीं, हाँ हाँ, PPT वे में पढ़ा दीजिए, एटलीस्ट MCQ क्लियर हो जाए।
MCQ के लिए, यस यस। मेरा HTML CSS जावास्क्रिप्ट के भी ऊपर भी MCQ है, वो भी मैं आपको भेजता हूँ।
ठीक है सर।
हाँ, 2 मिनट, तो मैं थोड़ा सा 5 मिनट बाद ज्वाइन कर रहा हूँ ये मीटिंग। So already you have the idea on HTML. For I hope that everyone knows that, right? So HTML is also one markup language, right? Tag based language, and which we are using for the presentation purpose, right? To create the user interface code. Already we have used the HTML code in servlet program also to create the login page, registration page, and all, right? So in that we have so many other tags also, but just check all the tags. All tags are predefined in the HTML. So HTML is going to create the structure of the document, right? How my form will be, what should be there in the form, what should be the content in the form, and all, right? But so HTML we are using to create a static document structure, right? But if I want to make it dynamic, right? Dynamic HTML means I want to make the HTML so that HTML, using the HTML, I want to include some program in the HTML, and using that I want to validate our data. We can able to, right, create the object. We can able to check the condition. We can able to, right, write some logical condition, and so that we can able to process our data, right? So in that case, we are going to include the JavaScript with our with our HTML content, and that we can say dynamic HTML, right? DHTML. So DHTML is dynamic hypertext markup language. which helps to add the dynamic content to the static HTML page, and that is what JavaScript. So JavaScript is one of the scripting language, right? Interpreted language. So in case of the JavaScript, we will not have the compilation option. So it's directly executed or interpreted by the web browser actually. So JavaScript in an easy to use object scripting language. It's designed for creating live online applications, right? So code is included as a part of HTML document. So I told that with that document, we are just running some script so that we can validate our process our data logically, mathematically, and all. So scripts are executed by whom? By the web browser. Okay, so that is the JavaScript actually. So JavaScript can be combined directly with HTML, and JavaScript language structure is simpler than that Java actually. So JavaScript and Java is not the same language. So JavaScript, if you know Java, for you JavaScript will be easy to learn, because all the programming concepts are there in the JavaScript also. We have the concept of array, we have the concept of if, we have the concept of switch, we have the concept of loop, we have the concept of string class, date class, everything is there. Form validations, so regular expressions also are available in the JavaScript. Okay, string methods are there. Okay, so objects are there. We can able to create our own objects, array object, string object, like user defined objects. Any object you can able to create. Okay, and the JavaScript is the interpreter. Is JavaScript interpreter is already inbuilt in all like advanced वेब ब्राउजर. जितना भी एडवांस वेब ब्राउजर है उसमें जावास्क्रिप्ट इंटरप्रेटर इनबिल्ट है, राइट, सभी वेब ब्राउजर्स में. नाउ they given one thing, they example here that how I'll write the JavaScript, and this example is the example you can say of you can say this is the internal JavaScript we are writing with the HTML actually. So if you want to write the JavaScript in your HTML document, we are using the script tag. So here we are using script tag to write the JavaScript code in that in your HTML. Okay, you can you should like the good practice is, if you want to include your scripting language in the scripting language JavaScript in your HTML, just try write inside the body. Okay, you can you just write in the body, what's in the body, in the head also you can write, anywhere you can write, but body is the preferable actually. So in the body, what I'm writing, script language JavaScript, and document.write, we can also use console.log to print on the console. Okay, so in the case of JavaScript, you can also use console.log to print or write on the console. But if you want to write on the browser, some statement, if you want to print on the browser, we can use document. Document is one of the JavaScript object actually, predefined JavaScript object, like a window object, string object. Document also is an object in JavaScript. Okay, so document dot we are using write. Write is the method. Here we are writing welcome to something they wrote actually, some message is we are going to write. Okay, so if you run this file, you'll get this welcome to Greenbank in the JavaScript. This particular statement will be printed. Just this simple example with how to use the script and how to print a statement on the browser using JavaScript. Okay, now I told you JavaScript also supports this all categories, whatever already you have learned in the other programming languages like Java and all. So in JavaScript, we can use variables, expressions, control statement, functions, objects, and arrays. So this all we can able to use in the JavaScript also. We can define our own functions. Okay, we can define our objects and arrays and everything in the JavaScript. Okay, just unlike other programming languages like C, C++, and Java, this JavaScript also is one of the programming language, right? It's also a scripting language, right? So it's also provides some data types, but data types is not like tightly or restricted, right? If you can declare the data variables in JavaScript, data types are in the JavaScript by using var. Also, you can declare the variables by using let. Also, you can declare the variables in the advanced version of the JavaScript. But the thing is that in var a you can assign the if you assign a value in a double quote, that will be treated as a string. If I assign the value as a number, that will be treated as a number. So string, number, objects, array, right, undefined, and these are the, you can say, the data types in JavaScript. Okay, so data types are number, data types are string, data types are boolean, data types are like you can say array type of data, object type of data types are there. So but you can say these are the data types in JavaScript. Rules for variables name, just like a Java having some rules to declare the variables name, JavaScript also having the rules to declare the variables name. Okay, the same way in Java we have two rules to declare the variables name. Okay, one is the method level scope and one is the global scope. So if I declare any variable before method, that a scope or that scope of the variable will be global for the entire JavaScript file. And if I'll declare the variable inside the method, the the scope of that variable will be only for that local particular like just like local. The same way in JavaScript also. Okay, so just check once by variable declaration and all. So for the L1 exam, just go through this PPT also. I'll share with you. Okay, just L1 exam for your MCQ. You can go through this part, and once you learn the particular TypeScript and Angular, that time you can just practically implement everything. Okay, now we have the conditional statement like Java and other programming language. We have the if else, switch, everything is there. We have the looping statement, while, do while, break, everything we can able to use. Continuous statement also use. And object manipulation statements are there called. We can create the object using new. We can, this also is there just like a Java, and with also is there. Okay, so with also one keyword is there in the JavaScript. Okay, and in the comment in the JavaScript, we can use either write single line comment and multi-line comments like that, same way as Java. Okay, so these are the like statements are available. Means all the statements whatever we have used in Java, same way we can able to use in the JavaScript also. Now they given one example programmatic example. Using this JavaScript, using the same HTML file. Okay, so here we are using script language equal to JavaScript, var, using the variable var a equals to 4. So I have declared this variable a equals to 4 and message equals to something blank I given. So this is a string actually I have assigned. If a equals to 0, something I'm printing. Else if a modulus 2 equal to 0, I'll say in message I initialize even or odd, and I'm printing that value. So like this way they're just trying to say you here that we can declare the variables using this way, and we can able to check that data, and we can check the condition. We can able to include the if conditions and all using this way. Okay, this is the way we can able to declare this all variables. You can able to check the conditions and all. Switch case also you can able to use in the JavaScript like this way. Variable choice equal to 3. Okay, so switch, if will give 3, so here 3 is not there, so it will give you the default login is customer. If you give 1, login type will be manager. If you give 2, login type will be the stuff. So this way we're going to use the switch case in JavaScript. Okay, so syntax, everything, initialization, checking condition, increment, decrement, everything is there in the JavaScript also. So just check this parts how we are going to use the syntax and all, so that you can able to understand. Apart from that, everything will be the same. Okay, so here do while loop also you can able to use. So do the count of means just here they are giving the example. They are just summing this number actually. So here they are giving the example. So count they initialize with 0. Every time the count value is going to be incremental to fetch the last digit every time. And the while loop is checking whether the number is greater than 1 or not. If the number will be greater than 1, then till this particular process will be continued, and it's going to return the total digit, and total how many total digits are there. So they're going to just count the total number of digits from here. Okay, so this is the way we are going to use do while loop. We can able to use the while loop like this way. So you can right using this while loop. Okay, so x greater than 0, then this is z in z, they're going to initialize the last value 3. So with this y plus z, the value is going to be increased. So again they're going to, so x divided by 10, whatever the value will be there, if I'll convert this value into integer, we can able to use parse int method over here. So here they used the parse int method, x divided by 10. So whatever the value will be there, x, it's initialized as an integer. So x divided by 10, it's going to return as a float, but our fractional value, that value is going to be converted into integer and initialized into this variable. So they're just saying that this is the way we're going to use do while loop and all. So in this PPT, they are clearly saying how to use this function. Also in JavaScript, if I want to use the function, how I'll use, they're given one keyword in JavaScript called function. So function is a keyword in JavaScript. Okay, and here we are not using the return type and all. Here we are using function name, but the TypeScript, because for Angular we need to know the TypeScript. Actually, in JavaScript is going to be converted into TypeScript, and the TypeScript is very uh, strictly typed actually language, but JavaScript is loosely typed language, right? In case of the TypeScript, the data type, return type is there, means we can return certain data type like integer, string, or any type. But in case of JavaScript, here I'm using function and the function name, and we can pass also the parameters over like this way. Okay, and once we'll call the function is going to return some value. So here the function is going to return the integer, suppose, based on this return statement, right? So here they are using a ternary operator, just like a Java. Here also you can use the ternary operator, just n greater than 0. So they're just recursively calling this function, and if it is n greater than 0, then if it is greater than, then it will call this function again, or else it will print the value of m. So here it's going to return the integer only in this case. So the same like this way they just call this GCD function. You can check this also once you'll run. तो इसको HTML में यदि JavaScript आप लोग लिख रहे हैं तो you can just use the .html extension and save and you'll get the output. And we can also create our JavaScript file separately, and we can able to use that JavaScript file. Means we can able to write save the particular JavaScript file into .js extension, and we can able to include that file in our HTML document. Okay, that also I'll say you. That is called external JavaScript. So external JavaScript, we can use the script src tag. I'll come that part. Okay, so here we have the object. Okay, in JavaScript, so many objects are there, right? So let me just come here. So object is a self-contained. Already you know about the object. The same thing is there in the JavaScript also. Object having the methods, object having some identity, object having some attributes or properties. In the JavaScript also, same this definition declarations are there in the object also. JavaScript object also, right? At the top of the browser hierarchy, window is the object. Window is the object. So like JavaScript, in JavaScript, everything is modeled in the form of this object. So which represent a browser window. Window object represent the browser window actually. And the properties of the window are status. Status is the property of the window. Alert is the method of the window. Confirm is the method of the window. Prompt is the method of the window. So sometime in your MCQ questions, they can ask you prompt method is the method of which object in JavaScript. So they'll give window, panel, okay, document, string, and all. So prompt is the method of the window. alert is the method of the window. So these methods are very, very important actually. We are using in these methods frequently in our applications. Okay. Now, document object model, that is DOM. Actually, we are saying DOM model actually. So whatever the HTML structure we are creating, so browser is going to load that structure as a DOM model, right? So document object model, that is called DOM actually. So what's happening? This is going to create internally a tree view actually. So in the tree view, like the root, then child nodes are going to be structured. Child tags are going to be structured. Just like HTML is the root tag. Inside the HTML tag, there are two tags. Suppose is there called head tag and body tag. In the head tag, you wrote something. In the body tag, you wrote suppose paragraph, a form. So that comes under. So everything is going to be just model as a document, and that object is going to be loaded. So the DOM document object represents the characteristics of the current HTML page. Some of the properties are title, for foreground color, background color, last modified. These are the properties actually. One of the most important method of the document is write. Write we are using, right? Write. ln also is there, right? So other than that, document object having so many other methods like get element by id, DOM methods we are calling, get element by tag name, get element by name. So many like DOM methods are available over there, right? The form object represents, now there is one more object is there called form object. Okay, the form object represents an HTML form. It has the same name as the name attribute of the form tag. In the browser object hierarchy, the form object is contained in the document object. So form object, so first browser will come in the window will come in the first hierarchy, then document, and inside the document object the right form object will come. So the form object is contained in the document object. Okay. One more object is there called math object. So math object provides so many properties, so many functions, mathematical functions. So mathematical constants are pi having the default value 3.14. That already you know. So pi is one of the popular constants, pi value. And mathematical functions are there called absolute function, ceil function, float function, max, mean, random, round. So these methods are the methods of the math object. You can use like this math dot absolute. Okay, math dot ceil value returns the smallest integer greater than or equal to the given value of x. Okay, so these methods already we used in the Java also. You can able to use over here also. So just check it. Maybe these methods will be helpful for you. In your MCQ, they can ask you some methods. So they given some example how to apply or use this method. See, variable they given x equals to 20, y equals to 70. How to use the ceil method, how to use the floor method, how to use the round method and all. So they given this everything. So like this way, you also please check once how to use this math functions and this object of math, and how to get that ceil value, floor value, round value, this all things. Okay. Unlike Java, in JavaScript, we have the string class or string object also, not a class. Everything is here in the object, right? So here string object also is there, and string having these methods, index of, last index of method is there, caret method is there, just like a Java. Length method is there, split method is there, substring method is there, two lowercase method is there, two uppercase methods are there. See, so this all methods, how to use this all methods, they given also, right? How to use index of method, how to use last index of method, how to use caret method. Already you know, that is the reason I'm not explaining this caret what return will what and all. So these methods how to use, they given in this program, and these are the methods are there, popular methods are there. So please go through this, guys, once, and they given this right, this is why I think this 0 1 2 3, so split method they given the example how to use the split method. Just like Java, we can use the split method, and this split return type is the array type actually. In case of JavaScript also, split is going to return the array. Okay, so array is combination of strings, and we can able to like fetch all the strings from the array we can access. They see here, they access the array like this way: I equal to 0, I less than of split dot result, split result is the array type. सो ये एरे है और एरे का लेंथ तक ये लूप चल रहा है, एंड every time they are going to just fetching element of 0th position, which value is there, 0 is there, element of 1 position, which value is there, 1 is there, 2 is there, 3 is there, 4. So they are just splitted this x which is containing this value and returning the array type, and from this array they are fetching the value. So this is very important method, split method. Substring methods also are there. You can able to use the substring method in the same way. So please try once. And here we can see all the operators in JavaScript. Different comparison operators are available, like less than, greater than, less than equal to, greater than equals to, not equal to, double equal to, triple equal to also is there. Okay, in JavaScript. So they given, while we are aware of this most of these operators, but we may not have used triple equal to operator till now. Okay, so double equal to and triple equal to are both used to compare the values, but there is a difference. What is the difference? So double equal to represents that it's equal to, and triple equal to represents is exactly equal to. Okay, but it will not only check whether the values are equal, but it double equal to checks whether the values are equal or not. But triple equal to checks whether the values are equal or not, and also whether the data types are same or not. Okay, so this is the use of triple equal to. So values also should be same, and data type also should be same. Then this is going to return true, or else this is going to return false. Okay, so they given one example over here. So suppose they given there is one form. Suppose a form name equals to first f1. Form का नाम है f1. There are two HTML element is there, object is there. Input type text, इस element का नाम है name equals to text box 1. Input type button, value equals to click here, और on click एक event है, जैसे JavaScript में on click, on submit, okay, on key press, okay. So these are the events actually in JavaScript. Okay, so events means it's going to take some instructions, right? So once I click the button, what should happen? So once I click the button, I want to call this method which I have defined in the JavaScript, comparing method. So देखिए, so JavaScript में function they define like this way. Function का नाम दिया है comparing. Okay, so this function will be clicked or will be fired or will be executed or will be invoked once I click this button. Okay, and button में जब ही click करेंगे तो ये क्या होगा? Document. Document is the predefined object. F1 is what? F1 is the name of the form. So form object है ये. Form object से हम क्या ले रहे हैं? Text box 1 T1 F1.T1 डॉट वैल्यू. वैल्यू एक प्रॉपर्टी है. देखिए हम इस टेक्स्ट बॉक्स से वैल्यू जावास्क्रिप्ट में ले रहे हैं. कैसे कर ले रहे हैं? f1.t1 डॉट वैल्यू. सो डॉक्यूमेंट डॉट f1, इस डॉक्यूमेंट में फॉर्म ऑब्जेक्ट है, फॉर्म ऑब्जेक्ट के अंदर इनपुट ऑब्जेक्ट है, इसके अंदर जो वैल्यू है डॉट वैल्यू से इज द प्रीडिफाइंड प्रॉपर्टी, दे आर गोइंग टू फेच दिस प्रॉपर्टी. तो मान लीजिए टेक्स्ट बॉक्स में मैं दिया 20. okay, suppose I given the value 10. okay, so 10 will be initialized into this in one input 1, and already they given one value in input 2. With this value they will compare. So if input 1 equal to input 2, I'm getting the result both values are equal. If input 1 tripled equal to input 2, both values are equal, same type. okay, तो इसको execute करने से in this case output क्या आ रहा है? both values are equal and both values are at the same, both values are different. अच्छा, ये क्योंकि ये देखिए input 2 they given a double quote, that is a string. But if I give this input 10, it's an integer. So in this case, if I use triple equal to operator, if I check if I use triple equal to operator, it's not only checking the both values are equal or not, it's also checking both values are same data type or not. So here the both value having a different data type. Here 10 is a string, and 10 I'm getting whatever in the text box, that is as an integer. So in this case, it's showing both values are different type. But if I'll give input 1 equal to input 2, in this case, it's showing both values are equal, because it's not checking with the types, it's just checking with the values. Okay, so this is the way we are going to use the equal to, triple equal to, and like that. Now, how to use the date object? So we have used document. So we have used this string methods, whatever is there, math methods, whatever is there, math object का क्या क्या method है, we understood string में क्या क्या methods हो सकता है, और date में क्या क्या methods हो सकता है, और date को हम लोग कैसे construct बनाएंगे, date का object कैसे बनाएंगे, right? The date object is inbuilt in JavaScript that enables you to conveniently work with the dates and times, right? So you can able to use the date and times. Like in Java, we can also able to create the object of the date by calling the default constructors. You can see here कैसे कैसे तरीके से हम लोग डेट को बना सकते हैं. न्यू डेट we can pass the June, month, year, means month, day, year. Like this way also you can pass, and you can able to hour, minute, second you can pass, and you can able to create the object of date. We can also say new date, like we can say the month, day, and year. So day, month, and year we can pass. New date, day, month, year, hour, minute, second also you can pass. So you can also able to create the date and time object. 2 minutes. Okay. So date object कैसे use करना है, like this way you can able to construct the date object. So practically we can able to check that how to use this date object also. एंड एरेज क्या है, एरेज इन जैसे जावा में हम लोग एरे यूज करते हैं, इधर भी एरे है. एरे हम लोग न्यू से भी बना सकते हैं, यूजिंग न्यू मेथड आल्सो यू कैन क्रिएट द एरे. सी दे गिवन द एरे न्यू एरे 20 ऐसे करके बनाया है, राइट. द स्टेटमेंट टू क्रिएट एन एरे कॉल्ड स्कोर्स विथ 20 वैल्यूज. तो स्कोर्स बोल के एक एरे का वेरिएबल का नाम है, और इसमें किसका ऑब्जेक्ट स्टोर है, न्यू एरे. देखिए ARRAY, बस ये लिख देने से एरे का ऑब्जेक्ट बन जाएगा न्यू एरे. और 20 क्या हो गया, साइज हो गया इसका. तो थोड़ा सा सिंटैक्स डिफरेंस है जावा से, लेकिन कॉन्सेप्ट आर सेम. एरे में भी आपका जॉइन मेथड है, रिवर्स मेथड है, एरे को हम सॉर्ट कर सकते हैं. सो दिस आर द मेथड्स. पुश मेथड भी है एरे में. सो यू कैन एबल टू पुश द ऑब्जेक्ट्स, न्यू ऑब्जेक्ट्स इनटू द एरे. एरे में जॉइन मेथड है, रिवर्स मेथड है, सॉर्ट मेथड है. जस्ट चेक एवरी मेथड्स गाइस. And event, whatever I told, like on click, on blur, on you can say submit, on key press, these are the events are there. So they are saying events refer to things that happen to the browser and is used to trigger portion of the program. Okay, so events are like you can say the some, once I'll click on the button, then what should happen, right? So it's the kind, some is going to call some methods, right? तो इवेंट के बारे में आ रहा हूं मैं, क्योंकि इवेंट से हम लोग ऑन क्लिक ऑन सब वैलिडेशन में हम लोग लाइक वी नीड द दिस इवेंट्स आल्सो. ओपनिंग न्यू ब्राउजर विंडो इज अ ग्रेट फीचर ऑफ जावास्क्रिप्ट. यू कैन आइदर लोड अ न्यू डॉक्यूमेंट और a new document, or to the, you can either load a new document to the new window, or you can create a new document on the fly. So you can able to create a new document. So that creating window is not much. And let me go to the JavaScript validation. Validation में Java following example demonstrate how to define the functions that going to insert the text. Suppose ये एक फंक्शन है जावास्क्रिप्ट. फंक्शन का नाम है चेक फॉर्म. ओके, फॉर्म को चेक कर रहा है, ठीक है. फॉर्म में क्या है, डॉक्यूमेंट इज द नेम ऑफ द ऑब्जेक्ट, डॉक्यूमेंट. कार्ड सपोज फॉर्म का नाम है, नेम इज द टेक्स्ट बॉक्स नेम, एंड वैल्यू. तो टेक्स्ट बॉक्स में जो भी वैल्यू दे रहे हैं, तो इफ एक्स लेंथ डॉट लेंथ इक्वल टू 0, यदि इसमें कोई वैल्यू नहीं देंगे, वैल्यू में कुछ नहीं आएगा, ब्लैंक आएगा, तो लेंथ 0 होगा. यदि 0 है तो ये अलर्ट मैसेज विंडो ऑब्जेक्ट का ये मेथड ये डिस्प्ले होना चाहिए, और प्लीज एंटर द नेम, एंड दिस मेथड शुड रिटर्न फॉल्स इन दैट केस. सो सपोज, or else this method will return true. So suppose I'm having this inside the body tag, I'm having this form tag. Actually form name equals to card, suppose method equals to post, and here I'm using on submit event. Okay, so before going to submit this form, or before going to write send this request to this action called hello. Okay, suppose hello बोल के कोई component है, जब मैं ये request pass करूंगा तो that will be like that request will be mapped with this hello. But उसके पहले on submit this form, I want to call this method actually return check form. check form method को मैं कॉल करना चाहता हूँ, राइट. check form method को कॉल करूंगा, तो डॉक्यूमेंट बोल के मेरा ऑब्जेक्ट है, डॉक्यूमेंट इज द ऑब्जेक्ट नेम। कार्ड क्या है? कार्ड इज द नेम ऑफ द फॉर्म। उसके बाद से नेम क्या है? नेम इज द टेक्स्ट बॉक्स नेम, इनपुट टाइप टेक्स्ट, नेम इज द नेम। अच्छा, उसके बाद से वैल्यू, वैल्यू इज समथिंग, so value is the predefined property which is going to just fetch the value of the text box and initialize this variable 10 20 जो भी है। तो इसका लेंथ ना 10 20 कुछ भी जो भी वैल्यू देंगे, सपोज एबीसी देंगे, तो एबीसी देंगे तो उसका लेंथ 3 हो जाएगा, कुछ नहीं देंगे तो लेंथ 0 होगा। तो उस टाइम हमको ये अलर्ट मैसेज आना चाहिए, प्लीज एंटर द नेम। सो सेम थिंग आई एम डूइंग ओवर हियर। So before submitting this form, I'm calling this method, and if this method will return false, then this form will not be submitted. And if this method will return true, then this form will be submitted. So this is just here in this program, they're just showing that how to extract the value and check with the on submit event to submit the form. And before submitting the form, I'm just calling this method once. Okay. उसके बाद से suppose they are just checking the value mobile number, whether the mobile number is not a number or not, is number or not. So what they're doing over here, see, the following example demonstrate how can you define a function that's going to ensure that exactly 10 digits are entered in the text box. So suppose I'm having this text box. Here I'm having enter our mobile number. So input type text, name equals to the mobile of name of this text box I given as a MOB. So anything you can able to give. So on submit event they're using, this is one of the event, on submit, on click, on blur, on key press. So these are the events are there. So on submit जब मैं कर रहा हूँ तो return check form, check form मतलब this method को कॉल कर रहा है, ये कॉल करके फ्लैग वैल्यू 0 इनिशियलाइज कर रहा है। और डॉक्यूमेंट डॉट कार्ड, ये मेरा फॉर्म का नाम है कार्ड। उसके बाद से document dot card or mob is the name of the text box name, identity text box identifier, mob dot value। तो जो भी वैल्यू है इसके अंदर स्टोर हो जाएगा। तो now if the length not equal to 10 and if the value is not a number, right, if it is also false, so alert you are expected to enter the 10 digits number, right, or else they are saying that flag value will be increased by 1, and if is not a number, then if it is true, only digit, nothing else, or else flag value is going to be incremented by 2. If flag value equal to 2, everything is fine, then this method is written true, or this method written false. Up written true, written false, if condition is if condition we describe, we don't need this much of flag variables over here. So that also you can do, you can write your own logic to check this particular program. Okay, so this way we can able to just fetch and process our data using this HTML, right? Now, in the JavaScript, we can do the validate. In this program, they are validating the only characters can be entered, not the number, not anything. So if key code less than 65 or key code greater than 90 or less than 97, greater than 123, key code less not equal to 32, then we are going to say the window dot event dot return value so equal to false, and it's saying that only alphabets or space please means we cannot give the letter, digits, underscore, any other characters, special characters or digits. We only can say only alphabet and space are allowed. So we can say window dot event dot key code. So key code का वैल्यू ले रहा है। सो हेयर फॉर्म मेथड इक्वल्स टू पोस्ट एक्शन इक्वल्स टू XYZ, फॉर्म का नाम दिया है टेक्स्ट बॉक्स, ऑन की प्रेस। तो ये एक इवेंट है कि दिस इवेंट विल बी कॉल्ड वंस यू प्रेस एनी की इन योर कीबोर्ड, सो इट विल कॉल दिस, बिफोर दैट इट्स गोइंग टू कॉल दिस वैल्यू। तो इस टेक्स्ट बॉक्स में जो भी वैल्यू आप देंगे, टेक्स्ट बॉक्स के साथ हम लोग यूज कर रहे हैं, देखिए इनपुट टाइप टेक्स्ट। तो भाई यदि आप देंगे 1 2 3 तो टेक्स्ट बॉक्स में वो आएगा ही नहीं। If you'll give other than that, then only the value will be stored inside this key code. Okay, and if will give any other wrong value, for that it is going to return false. And if it is false, this is not going to be entered in this text box. So just like a validation I have used, we can validate using the regular expression also. Just like a Java, we have used the regular expression. Here also we can use the regular expression. you can able to use the regular expression with the pattern, the non-digit number capital D, word characters slash W, capital W non-word characters, white space characters small s, capital S for non-white space characters, mismatch of the beginning or end of the word we can say slash B, find the match not of the beginning or the end of the word is capital B. So like that way. So these are the regular expressions, space के लिए हैं, word non word के लिए हैं, beginning or end of the word के लिए slash b. So these are the regular expression they use, and we can use the regular expressions like this way also. So they given one gradation over here. Again, only numbers are allowed, suppose. So in this case, they're using this regular expression like this slash d, only numbers, nothing else. And by how to checking this regular expression, by using सी टेस्ट मेथड. टेस्ट एक मेथड है, टेस्ट मेथड से चेक कर रहा है कि whether this key character matching with this numcheck or not. तो numcheck dot test की कैरेक्टर का वैल्यू हम लोग ले रहे हैं इस टेक्स्ट बॉक्स से, राइट. ऑन की प्रेस इवेंट यूज करके रिटर्न ओनली नंबर्स, तो ये मेथड कॉल हो रहा है. नंबर यदि होगा तभी ये टेक्स्ट बॉक्स में वैल्यू हम लोग एंटर करा सकेंगे. और टेस्ट एक मेथड है जो कि चेक कर रहा है दोनों को. इसको जैसे हम लोग का जावा में मेथड है ना मैचेस, इसमें हम लोग का है मेथड टेस्ट. Okay, we can also write like this way. Okay, so character classes like this. Find any characters between the brackets, right? Find any characters not between the brackets. Find any character from A to Z, small a to Z, 0 to 9, right? So this way. So you can able to use like this way also. So character classes also you can able to use with a regular expression. So they given with the character classes also. See, character check, A to Z, small a to Z. So they given they tested like this way. So this way we are going to use the validation for this. They given some quiz. Okay, so जावास्क्रिप्ट में मान लीजिए आप कैसे एरे बनता है, कैसे ये बनता है. if you can able to like check this, and if you can able to understand this all part, so you can able to clearly answer the questions from the MCQ. और मैं आप लोग को ये भेज दिया हूँ, आप लोग को जो MCQ के क्वेश्चंस. I'm trying to share you some PPT PDF also. ये PPT को मैं भेज देता हूँ आपको.